My speech is about anxiety, so whoever suffers from anxiety, this may trigger you. So if you feel bad about turning off the speech or you can't listen, I won't feel bad. Or don't feel bad, sorry. So I want you all to close your eyes. Imagine yourself sitting on a beach. The sand is in between your toes. The sun is warming your skin. Nothing in the world seems like it could ruin that moment. Then suddenly, your heart starts pacing. Your vision gets blurry and it starts to narrow. Your palms start sweating. The feeling of impending doom hits. The darkness surrounds you. You don't feel the sun warming your skin. You feel it suffocating you. The unwanted, terrible thoughts start swarming your head, and in that moment, you think someone you love or you yourself is going to die. That is exactly what anxiety feels like to me. You can open your eyes. Some of you might be wondering what to do when something happens like this. What do you say? The most important thing to remember is listen without judgment and remind them this is not the end. It is also important to remember to think of anxiety as an umbrella. And under that umbrella, there's social anxiety, panic disorder, generalized anxiety disorder, and phobias, which is also frequently occurs with depressive disorders. Everyone shows symptoms of anxiety differently, but some symptoms of anxiety include indigestion, stomach pain, difficulty breathing, hyperventilation, negative thoughts, including anticipating danger, impending doom or failure, catastrophe around every corner, irritability, anger, feelings of worry that can cause shakiness or trembling. Normal anxiety is considered an adaptive response to the possible presence of danger. It becomes maladaptive when someone suffering from anxiety is using negative coping mechanisms to cope with their anxiety. Some negative symptoms include self-harm, continuous crying, binge eating, nail biting, fidgeting, and substance abuse. Now, just because those signs may not be present in someone that has anxiety does not mean that they are suffering internally. Everyone copes differently. Some people hide it better than others. I myself have to voice my irrational worries to the person or crowd I am with, if I feel comfortable doing so, or I suffer in silence because I am worried about what the group of people I will say or think. People with anxiety already know they may sound irrational. They already know their thoughts are and sound irrational. We ask of strangers, friends, and family to validate our fears. Listen to us without judgment. We can't always help ourselves, but we ask you to help us. Some people may be wondering, why do people have anxiety now and not back in the 50s or 60s? Which is a valid question, but then I ask you this. Is anxiety more prevalent now, or are we just becoming more aware of it? In 1621, Robert Burton wrote his description from the Anatomy of Melancholy. He dared not come into company for fear he should be misused, disgraced, overshoot himself in gestures or speeches, or be sick. He thinks every man observeth him. For Medical News Today, they quoted that in August 2018, Barnes & Noble jumped to 25% increase of anxiety books sold from June 2017. That's a 1-year difference. Anxiety is now the most common mental illness in the U.S. Anxiety affects around 40 million adults, which is almost a 1-to-5 ratio of people. Globally, the World Health Organization say that almost 300 million people have an anxiety disorder. WHO states that there is more prevalence of generalized anxiety disorder in wealthier countries than that of countries with lower socioeconomic status. Which goes back to the question, why does it seem higher now than ever before? If you keep in mind the role social status and the dire need to be somebody due to social media and society, and the mass of school shootings, robberies, rapes, crimes that are happening everywhere in a country, it only makes sense as to why the anxiety has increased. Back in the 60s and 70s, they didn't have a 24-hour news cycle. It was only the morning shows and evening news back then. So with constant feed of crimes and shootings and etc., it can only increase our anxiety levels to rise and be on edge of the thought of what if this happens to me or my family. I ask friends, family, and strangers to remember that to us who suffer from anxiety, that it isn't just in our head. When someone is having an anxiety attack or a panic attack, instead of saying, well, just stop thinking of that, or that's really irrational, or you're weird for thinking that, some of the best things to say or do is, or ask, are you okay? I'm here. You're safe. What can I do to help? Validate their feelings. Validate their fear. People with anxiety are extremely worrisome of things people may not even think twice of, like maybe eating in front of somebody, or maybe they're worried about being in a crowd. Take them away from the situation. Let them know someone is there. Another thing you can talk to them about, if you notice them struggling with everyday life due to anxiety, is consult their doctor to see if therapies, medications, or maybe non-pharmaceutical options are the right thing for them. And if they are scared to go, offer to go with them. There are many varieties to help with dealing with anxiety. Also, it is important to remember everybody's anxiety is different, so what medication, therapy, or relaxing technique may help with one may not help for the other one. Just because something doesn't work right away, it isn't the end. There are so many options to help. It just might take time to find the right one to work for you. Don't give up. In the US, 40 million people suffer from anxiety every day. Again, that is 1 out of 5 people. If someone you know is suffering from anxiety, allow them to voice their fears, whether you believe them or not. Listen without judgment. Validate their fears. If they need a friendly, familiar face to go with them to the doctor's appointment, go with them. I can tell you from experience, when someone acknowledged my anxiety, it cuts my anxiety down to at least 75%. And for the people who are suffering from anxiety, know that help is out there. You're not alone. There are so many options, and it may take a while to find a remedy, medication, or therapy to help. But it does and can get better. And anxiety is not the end for you. Thank you.